If you asked an average person to name a place on their bucket list, there's a pretty good chance that Paris would be right near the top. From the history, to the food, to just the general vibe of the city, Paris offers something for just about everyone. For Alicia's birthday, we hopped on the EuroStar and spent the weekend enjoying everything that Paris has to offer. In this 3-part series, we'll be sampling some great eats, spending a day exploring the classic sights of Paris, and showing you where you can get some awesome Instagram-worthy shots. In this episode, we'll be taking in some of the classic sights of Paris. There's so much to see in this city, and trying to cover everything in one weekend would be impossible, so we're focusing on only the most stereotypical Parisian gems. So come along and explore the best of Paris with us. Bonjour and welcome to the Louvre. So today is our plan to just kind of go around and do all the really classic Paris stuff. So what better way to start than doing the Louvre? So we heard nightmares about actually getting in the lines and everything. So we pre-booked our tickets. And it was actually really easy. We honestly were in that. So come early, pre-book your tickets, and you'll be able to get in really quick. So a little bit about the Louvre. It is the largest museum in the world. It would take you 100 straight days of walking around to see everything that the Louvre has to offer. It was originally a palace built back in the 13th century, and now they've converted it into the best museum in the world. So let's go take a look.
I think we've been overly cautious through the security process. We were expecting them to kind of freak out about our big backpacks. Everything was fine. And then when we came up, they had garbage bins that had water bottle signs. So I was like, okay, so no drinks in the Louvre, that makes sense. But I can bring my water in, and also, now that you're up here, you can get Starbucks, so it's a lot more lax than we were expecting. So first up, we're going to check out some of the sculptures, which so far they're beautiful. We've seen probably 5 already, and it's breathtaking, it's incredible. I've always liked looking at sculptures because you can see so much detail in them, and they're just so lively, I think, compared to paintings. The sculptures are incredible, but what's shocking to me is just how close you're allowed to get to everything. Usually at museums I find that there's a lot of barriers and stuff like that. This one we could touch, we're right able to get right up to it.
Alright guys, so we've come through the sculpture section and we're now into the antiquities, so it kind of goes all through history. So we're starting off in the BC period, and then it goes all the way up through Egypt, Rome, all of that. So we're just going to take a walk through and see what we find. So this is exactly why you pre-book your tickets and come early. Throw some B-roll over top of this, but you can see the line outside and it is actually getting crazy out there. So come early, pre-book your tickets, very important.
So while we were looking at the antiquities, we kind of made a wrong turn, ended upstairs, and now we're with the European decoratives. Honestly, I kind of feel like I'm thrifting right now. It's a lot of old furniture and carpets and stuff, which is actually very cool and very beautiful. So we're gonna take a look at this now. I think we've been kind of doing this whole idea of following the map and then getting lost, so I think we're just going to keep trying to get lost.
We now come into the Egyptian artifacts, which is one of Alicia's favorite sections. She loves Egyptian history and Egyptian art, but even just beyond all the amazing pieces in here, this did used to be a royal palace, so just looking up and seeing the old frescoes from when this was a palace and the design of it, it's amazing in itself. So even if you're not actually that interested in the art, just come and look at the palace, it's beautiful.
No surprise, but we've gotten lost once again. So we finished in the Egyptian stuff, which was amazing. And we saw some signs for more of the decorative arts, which we didn't really get to see. So we started following that, ended up upstairs, so now we're at paintings on the 2nd floor. So the only things we haven't really seen are any of the paintings that are around the Mona Lisa. We can't find it. We don't even know if we want to see it that bad, but it'd be kind of nice to have the option. So we're going to check out the 2nd floor for a little bit and then head back down to the 1st and try to find some more decorative arts or paintings. Keeping on our journey, we have found an exhibit that is just frames, which they're actually quite nice. On a little bit. Now these frames have pictures in them, so we get to see some really nice paintings still. Gotten significantly busier. We had to retrace our steps a little bit, but I think we're getting closer. I think at this point, the busier it is, the closer we probably are to the Mona Lisa. I was so convinced that we had found paintings because there were some on the wall, but it's mainly like crown jewels and stuff, which is incredible. Honestly, I've never seen something so beautiful in my life. Pretty well from back here, I'll be honest. So the giant line is just to kind of get a closer look. There's no way we're going to wait in the line. Like, seeing it from afar is good. I think it's beautiful, it's lovely, but I'm not willing to wait an hour in line to look at it closer up. Something that's really cool that we've noticed a couple times since being in the Louvre is the art classes that have been going on here. So students actually get to come here and learn with their school, which is amazing. And we've also seen some individuals just kind of with like full-on easels or sketchbooks just replicating the art, which is also an amazing thing that it's just so fortunate that these young artists get to do. So we just finished up in the museum, and now we're outside. I'm sure you can tell by the classic pyramid shape behind me, and it was absolutely beautiful. The museum itself was amazing and the artwork was incredible. We were there for a few hours and we definitely could have spent our entire day there and our entire trip there. There was so much to see. The paintings were definitely the busiest area, which again makes sense because of the Mona Lisa. And we enjoyed seeing them as well, so don't get me wrong, I definitely understand the hype around them. It's just a bit unfortunate that some places like sculptures were dead quiet and not as many people were going to see them because they were probably my favorite part. They were incredible. So when you go, definitely make sure to try to see as much as you can and bits of everything because there's more to see than just the Mona Lisa. So we're gonna go find somewhere to go for lunch, and our feet are already killing us. We were there for so long and we wouldn't have stayed if it wasn't for the fact that our tummies are very hungry.
Okay guys, so we walked right up the main road to Ville Saint Louis, and now we're at Ile de la Cité, which is of course home to Notre Dame. Unless you've been living under a rock for the last few years, you would probably know that Notre Dame burned down a couple of years ago, or at least the roof did. So as you can see, it is under construction behind us. So unfortunately, we can't go and actually really check it out, but it's good to see that they are putting it back together and restoring it the way it should be.
Welcome to the Arc de Triomphe. We took the metro over and it was a really fast, quick, easy ride, so that was good. The Arc de Triomphe was commissioned all the way back in 1806 by Napoleon and completed 30 years later in 1836. Part of me wonders why it took so long to finish the building. 30 years for one thing is a pretty long time, but then you look at it and it's highly detailed and absolutely beautiful, just a massive piece of concrete, but really nice to look at. It's a good time to mention too, as you can probably see, there's lots of construction on the Arc de Triomphe, and there's actually lots of construction a lot of places in Paris right now. And the reason for that, from what I've been told, is because Paris is getting ready to host the Olympics in 2024. And because of that, they want their buildings and their kind of tourist spots to look top notch. So unfortunate timing for us, but everything's still great to look at, and maybe we'll come back around closer to the Olympics and we can see what it looks like finished. We have finally made it to to the Sacre Coeur, and I say finally because we've been in Paris for 4 days. We have come to this neighborhood 3 of those 4 days, and each time we're like, oh, we're gonna go see it, and something comes up and we haven't, so now we get to see it. So it is just a really nice old church, and you can actually enter for free unless you want to go to the dome, which costs about €6, which isn't too much. So if you're interested in doing it, it's definitely worth it. It's one of the highest points in Paris, so you get a really great view of the city, which we'll show you in a second.
So like Alicia mentioned, you get this absolutely stunning view behind me here. And then if you walk this way and turn around, you get a view of the beautiful church. So construction began in 1875 and was completed in 1914. And we're now going to go take a look inside and see how it looks. We're back down to base here at the Sacre Coeur. It's about 200 steps to get up, I guess, if you want to go up. We walk down. You can also take a funicular up, and that costs the same as a metro ticket. So unless you really want to work out, recommend taking the funicular up and then walk down.
So it's about 5:45, and we have reservations, or we pre-bought tickets for the Catacombs at 6:30, which will be pretty cool, kind of scary, mostly cool, hopefully. So I just want to mention, everywhere we've gone, it's been 100% by metro, to and from everything, and it's been super convenient. So it was told to us that we should pre-buy like a booklet of tickets, which is exactly what we did, and because of that, we've just been able to come and go. So highly recommend, and honestly, I find these train lines super easy, even easier than London, if I'm honest. Please excuse my shitty background. So we're still waiting to go to the Catacombs, and Sean and I were like, okay, good time to go to the bathroom, let's go to the Louvre. And we saw this one, and usually they're paid, so please excuse our Canadian ignorance because we're not used to that, but we knew they would probably be paid. This one's not, and there's a guy waiting in front of us, and he was just standing there, there was no one in there, and Sean was like, can I go? And the guy was like, no. He could not speak English, we had no idea what was going on. Apparently what happens is, after you use the loo, it sanitizes the entire room. So we were just like, had never experienced anything like this before, and we're super confused until we eventually read the sign.
Okay guys, so this little nondescript building behind me is actually the entrance to the Catacombs. So if you know anything about the Catacombs and about Paris, this is the spot where the remains of millions of Parisians are buried. There's actually up to 6 million people buried right below our feet here. So the Catacombs came about in the 1700s. There was a big public health crisis because the cemeteries were overflowing, so they basically brought all the remains down below to clear out the cemeteries. So we've actually been to Catacombs before, back in Malta, although they didn't really have obviously nearly the amount of bones that are here, or really too many bones at all. So this will be a really different experience and really force us to kind of come face to face with our mortality. So let's go take a look. I think Sean purposely didn't tell me this, but you actually have to walk down 100 or 100 and something steps to get to the Catacombs, which makes sense, it's underground. But then you have to walk all the way back up. So it's a very long, twisty, spiral staircase. So I'll probably be a bit tired on the walk up, especially after walking today. So we're in the first hallway. I don't know why I thought this was gonna be a group thing. Now it's just Sean and I, and I'm a little bit scared. There's someone walking around whistling, which is absolutely terrifying. Just goes on and on and on. So we passed a few people with audio guides. We were kind of cheap and decided not to buy the audio guides. Probably should have. But as we're walking through the tunnels here, so this is just one section. This is about a mile long, this museum, but there's over 200 miles of tunnels beneath Paris, and most of it is not accessible by the public. There are people that do go into there, and there's been numerous stories of people that have not come out. So I can't even imagine going into the places where there's no lighting, there's no directions, no nothing, because this is already like intimidating enough.
scary to me because obviously these are really small, and because of that there's capacity limits, so there's only allowed 200 people down here at the same time. And to me that meant in my head that it was going to be a really congested type thing, and we haven't seen a single person, and we are numbers 168 and 169. Saw that coming in, so I'm just kind of shocked that we haven't seen anyone.
So we've now come into the section with the bones, and it is just jarring. Like when you hear 6 million, you don't really picture that until you actually see it. These piles behind me are basically 6 feet high. Like, they're taller than me, so it's just really, words can't really describe as you're walking through here and just sort of what you see, and it's quite the experience. The other thing when you guys come to visit is, if you're coming in the summer specifically, it stays a constant 14 degrees Celsius down here. I don't know why. I assume it's because it's underground. So, even if it's hot middle of July, August, make sure you bring a sweater or something, just because it does get chilly down here.
So as Sean mentioned, we went to Catacombs years ago in Malta, and it's so fascinating to me because the catacombs there and the catacombs here are nothing alike. So here it's a lot of bones, as you saw, and just the underground, and it's very surreal. Where in Malta, it was just kind of, you go underground, but it was divots where they would put the bodies. So this is the closest thing we've seen to that, where it's just like a cutout underneath, and I don't know if that's what it's there for, but it's just so fascinating to me how just unique and surreal the Paris catacombs are.
Alright guys, so what better way to finish our classic day in Paris than sitting in front of the Eiffel Tower?
It's absolutely beautiful, and we're waiting for a little bit so we can watch the light show, and we're gonna get some really good footage of that too, so make sure to watch until the end so you can see it too.
So thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. If you are interested, we're going to be doing a few other things in Paris, so we have a couple more videos coming down the pipeline, so stay tuned for those, and thank you for watching.
Let's roll the clip.
We are